Hi there, thanks for joining me today. This video is another eyeshadow brand bingo, and today we're going to be focusing on Sydney Grace. I did recently pick up the Enduring Love palette when it was on sale a couple months ago, and I did do a get ready with me featuring this. I used that really pretty blue shade in Ruth. I used that, and then I also used John, which is kind of like a greeny gold, and I really loved how that look turned out. And because I really liked the formula of the palette, I did decide to pick up some singles whenever they had their Black Friday sale. I grabbed 8 shades and I put them in this little ABH palette, and I have 4 shimmery metallic duochrome shades and then 4 mattes. Let's see if I can remember all the names of these. Here I have Peace. This is Keep It Fun. We have Dive here, which is really cool. It's got a blue base and then a greeny gold shift. And then this is Red Chameleon. This is very similar to a shade from the Jackie Aina palette from ABH. And then the bottom 4 mattes, we have Winter Wonderland, Haven, Ivy League, and Predictable. I have 23 shades to choose from. There's a pretty even mix of metallics and mattes, so I'm hoping I'm able to get a good mix, and I feel like most of the shades are gonna go nicely together. I have them all typed up into a spreadsheet, and then on my Pretty Random app, I have the minimum of 1 and then a maximum of 23. And we'll just go through one at a time, and I'll stop when I feel like I have enough shades to create a look. Usually that's around 4 or 5 shades. So the first one is number 20, and that is John from the palette, which is one of my favorite shades that I've used so far. I mentioned it's that greeny gold right there. I have used this all over the lid previously, but I think this would also be really nice on the inner corner. For the next shade, we have number 5, which is one of the singles, and it's Winter Wonder, which is the lightest matte. This will be a great transition shade, a great way to build out the look. Winter Wonder is a matte shade, and it is kind of a cool toned grayish transition shade for me, but it definitely has a purple undertone. For my third shade, we have number 9, which is Romeo. This is turning into a really cute color story. Romeo is kind of like a satiny shade, and it's a really light pink. It's not nearly as metallic as that top shade, but it is just kind of like a satin formula. Very similar actually to Cotton Candy from the Too Faced Bonbons palette, which I just used in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. All right, let's do another one. My next shade is number 19, which is, you know what, I've done this before in videos. 20, the John shade, is actually Abigail, which is the one next to it. It's that purple shade, and then I just got 19, which is John. So I made a mistake, but I ended up rolling both shades in anyway, so Abigail, that bottom shade, is a really deep plum, and it's definitely a satin. I think I'm gonna stop at these 4 shades. I'm astounded at how well these shades go together. I didn't imagine any of them would clash, but yeah, this is a really, really beautiful color story. So I'm going to zoom you in and bring my mirror a little bit closer and get started on the eyes. I'm going to start obviously with Winter Wonder, which is that second shade in my quartet. Is that the term? I'm so used to saying quintet for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. I dipped a really soft brush in there, and it still had a ton of kick up. And that is something I've noticed about some of the other mattes from the Enduring Love palette. It's a very soft shade, very buttery, but as a result, a ton of powder does kick up, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to take Winter Wonder, and I'm going to put it in my crease to start, but I'm pretty much just going to put it everywhere just to get the look started. So I did start by building it in the crease, if you can see, and I am going to just put this all over the lid as well, just to kind of start things off. And I am going to also just take what's on this brush and run it on the lower lash line. I will grab a more pointed fluffy brush and grab that darker purple Abigail and really put that directly in the crease. I like to use this brush when I'm doing more specific detailed crease work. And I know it looks like I might be digging this directly into like my eyeball, but I'm being gentle, I promise. This doesn't hurt. I just have more deep set eyes, and so I have to get in there. If you can see, it pairs incredibly well with that Winter Wonder shade. And I would say it's more of a neutral color, that Abigail shade, but then it does pull a little bit more cool tone because of the matte that I paired it with. And I do like having some deeper satins in my eyeshadow collection. It's something I never really liked and I never really understood what the purpose was, but I actually find that deeper satin shades are a lot easier to blend in the crease sometimes. And it's not like you can see straight up glitter in my crease. It's not like it's that shimmery. So far I'm really liking how that looks, and I'm just gonna match that on the other eye. This is the Zoeva 231. I really like this one because it's a very pointed, smaller detail crease brush. And then the other one is an old Wet n Wild brush. It's the P15. It's kind of like a dupe for that one Sigma brush. Yeah, it's a dupe for the E25 from Sigma. And I'm gonna use that same pointed crease brush to take that Abigail shade and put it on the outer third as well. I think I'm going to take that satin pinky shade Romeo and this ABH dual-sided brush, and I'm going to put Romeo all over the lid, meeting that deeper shade. I'm going back in with that darker purple and just making sure I didn't bring that satin shade up too high. So if you can see the pink in the palette versus on my eyes, it definitely is a little bit more warm toned, more pink in the palette, but because I put it on top of that really cool toned grayish purple shade, Winter Wonder, it's making it look a little bit more cool toned. Just going in and adding that deeper purple on the outer thirds. I'm going to take this Morphe M508 brush, grabbing that darker Abigail Plummy shade and putting that on the lower lash line on the outer half. And then taking whatever's left over on the brush and gently blending it to the inner corner. And I'm using that shade to line up with my top lash line so it kind of seamlessly goes around. Now for that green, I think I'm going to actually use that on my lower lash line. I do like to use lighter colors like that and sometimes cream shades to really brighten things up. And then also put that on the inner corner. And then I literally just press the pads of my fingers into the shadow to pick up a little bit of John, and I'm gonna pat them together and then just kind of tap it like a topper shade on top of that pink. I don't want to cover it up completely, but just add a little something to it. I'm gonna do the rest of my face, add some liner and mascara, and then come back and show you the final look. I did turn my lights in my room off because the sun completely disappeared, and with the way it was trying to balance it out on my camera, everything was just super orange. So I turned out the lights. It's a little more true to color. So I did put on some eyeliner and mascara, and then I used the blush from Buxom in the shade Seychelles. I didn't want to go too cool toned or purpley with it, so I decided to go with something a little more bronzy, a little more neutral. Same with the highlighter. I didn't want to go too icy, too cool toned, so I went with the more of a champagne shade, and this is Moonlight by Cover FX. It's just a little mini of their pressed version of the shade. And then on my lips, I lined my lips and filled them in slightly with Nude Suede Shoes by NYX, and then I put the Catrice Tinted Lip Balm in Beautiful Lips on top. This is kind of like a milky pink shade. As beautiful as the mattes are, they do have a lot of kick up. They're very similar in ABH formula in that way, but even so, they're very blendable, and I've never had any issue with any of the mattes I've used. I can see why for some people this is their ultimate favorite eyeshadow formula, and overall I really like how this look turned out. I typically do eyeshadow bingo videos once a month, usually around the 20th or so, and next month I do plan on doing it with all of my mini palettes. So all of my palettes that have, I think, 8 shades or less. I feel like that'll give me a chance to play around with some of my other palettes that don't really get involved in these types of brand-wide bingo videos. That's everything I have. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye guys!